Okay, what a week, you guys. Um, Kim, do you want to do shout outs? Are you able? Okay, Allie, thank you for being my backup. Kim's gonna rock it. She thought she'd be driving, but she must have ran some red lights. I don't know. All right, Kim, take it away.
Well, I actually hit all green lights, so it was meant to be. Okay, y'all, grab your pom poms, grab your spirit fingers, grab your horns. I don't care, whatever. Just get something. All right. We still have a week left of the month, and right now we've got 17 new VIPs. So let's start cheering for our friends. Erica, Molly, Brasilia. Sorry, I know I butchered that. Carolyn, Jennifer, me, Molly, Michelle, Sheila, Vicky, Danny, Allie with two, Andrea with two, and Tracy with three. All right, y'all, that is so good. And like we say almost every week, we love that it is there's so many names on that list that there's not just like we all want to be runners, right? But we love that we are helping so many people that our stretch just goes so deep and so wide. And two new brand ambassadors for this month. Way to go, y'all. Ellen under Hunter and Carolyn under Julie. That is so great. Tell me in the chat who is still working for their block this month. I am. That's for show.
Thank you so much, Kim. Y'all, I'm building towards my block. That is for dang sure. I literally was telling the girls, I'm earning this. I'm earning this because if I don't earn this month, then I gotta do like some double duty. I gotta figure some things out. And here's the thing, y'all, this is not just a one-time thing, like business blocks. So a little backstory, and then we'll get to our testimony. Stuart came from Monet. Do you guys know this? He's been at a few different network marketing companies. Amy Sloan, do y'all know Amy yet? She is, y'all know Robin Torres. Amy is her kind of counterpart in one of the other central region, maybe. Amy also was a top earner at Monet and then somewhere else. I'm not sure. But someone was telling me at the event we were at this weekend that Amy is working with them. And when they did these business blocks at Monet, and y'all, are you ready for this? Out of her career of like 4 years, there were only 2 months where she did not develop three business blocks every month. Mind blowing, right? Here's what I want you to consider. What if from the moment you started Plexus, you knew the goal was business blocks? How would you have shown up differently from the start? For those of you that are new here, you're getting this right off the bat. It's going to transform your business. So you're going to hear us talking a lot about business blocks, a lot about, if you're feeling stuck, when's the last time you created a business block? Um, you're going to have to figure out how to duplicate and develop ambassadors, not necessarily business builders. I didn't say you're going to have to figure out how to develop business builders. You're going to have to figure out how to develop ambassadors because business builders come from ambassadors, yet not all ambassadors become business builders. Do you pick up what I'm laying down? You're going to have to figure it out. And so that's what we're going to be talking about a lot of the time. So before we get into tonight's talk, I'm going to kick it to Cami, who's going to introduce our testimony for tonight.
I am so excited to introduce my friend Mykle. So Mykle joined me, gosh, like I don't know, 21 maybe, something like that. I can't even remember, but I'm not going to share too much of her story. I want her to share, but she has an incredible testimony, and I'm just so thankful that she's coming on to share. So Mykle, I'm going to pass it off to you.
I'm turning my audio on. Okay. First of all, I'm so excited to see so many great faces and names. So many of you have seen in the chat list, and some of you have actually met in person and loved on and hugged and squeezed and stuff. So it's exciting to see you guys. Um, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago now, 6 years ago maybe. But I want to give a little bit of a backstory in that I have always had super terrible health problems since I was about 13. I want to say eighth grade, my kidney shut down. and I became a dialysis patient. I know some of you have already heard my story, but the background is important because I was on dialysis for over 10 years before I received a first kidney transplant. And then I had lots of medications. And one medication that I took regularly every time that I ate anything was aluminum. I took aluminum pills every time I ate something. So, yeah, neurotoxins like mad. And after my transplant, I take immunosuppressants. And I had lots and lots of times where I was in the hospital with infections, lots of chemical treatments, and even on dialysis, they wash your dialyzer out with like bleach and what is that you preserve dead bodies with? Yeah, what is that? Formaldehyde.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm getting a lot, and they don't that your blood runs through that again and goes back into your body. So I knew that I was highly toxic, and my body was shutting down. And I lost that kidney. And before I lost it, though, I had treatments that required me to sign a form saying I knew these treatments were going to increase my chances of having cancer by 10% with each treatment. And I had two of those treatments 5 times each. So do the math, that's 100% cancer rates. Not to mention just being a dialysis patient, a transplant patient increases your chances of getting cancer in your lifetime by 20%. So years later, I'm doing okay. I had COVID in 2020, and I was just exhausted. I had post-COVID fatigue, so they say. And I'm napping every day about 2 o'clock. I'm putting my girls down for a nap just so I can zone out for the rest of the day. And there wasn't really a recovery after nap time. It was like nap time into drag around time, try to look productive for a little bit to bedtime. Um, I knew this was a problem. I've got kids that are on the go, and of all things, we're homeschooling our kids, so you kind of have to be on for that. And I'd seen Cammie's post before, and I thought someone had actually stolen her page and was posting about some crazy MLM. And so I reached out to her. I'm like, Cammie, what's going on? Someone's posting on your Facebook page. And she was like, no, seriously, Mykle, you don't even know. So I figured like Cammie's been a prayer sister of mine for just years. She's prayed me through some of the most challenging, knocking on death's door times in my life. So if there's anyone I trust, it's Cammie. So it's like God brought this into my life, and through someone that I would like really, really trust. And so I started out with just, I think, Slim and Active because I just needed some energy. That's all I needed. Just, I don't want anything else. Don't sell me anything. I just need some energy. I was drinking loaded teas every day, sometimes twice a day, because I needed to drag myself through the day and be a person. So Slim and Active right away, just with that. That's just so basic. But I automatically got sleep and I had energy. And she talked me into doing full on triplex. So I'm like, okay, well, I should probably try to get my gut healthy and understand that I have some issues. And now, just 5 years later, or 6 years, maybe more, I can't remember. But I've been on triplex all these years without breaks in the plan. And slowly but surely, you see all these changes, not just with your sleeping habits, but I never tracked when I used the bathroom before. And I was like, well, I guess it's kind of normal, whatever is going on. Come to find out, like, you should really be pooping more often than you do. And who knew? I had just a lot of cortisol weight and bloating, and it was really slowing me down. I didn't realize how tired I was just from doing very basic tasks. Anyway, so I don't get off of triplex anymore. I keep that. And then years later, I'm perimenopausal. And so Julie, I don't think Julie's on, but we all love Julie. So Julie did a big perimenopause breakdown for me, and I got on what I needed to be on, some X Factor and some Vital Biome and such. And I tried doing little experiments with myself where I would take one away, and then I would wake up just like twice the night sweaty and only have like 2 anger meltdown fits. And then I would go back to using the full thing with having the triplex and having a perimenopause additions to that. And it's like, I don't even have any symptoms at all. I'm like, oh, I must be completely through menopause now because I'm all good and everything's great. And I have so many friends who are doing so many different things to try to keep themselves regulated. And I'm like, oh, if I stay on my package plan for always triplex and always with my perimenopausal set that Julie put together for me, then I am legit. I don't even, I have no menopausal issues. Like I don't have crazy meltdown anger fits with my girls. I sleep through the night really, really well. I wake up in the morning with awesome energy. And we are into so many things. Like today, I got up and taught a class of 12 preschoolers. Yes, preschoolers from 3 years old to 6 years old. For 2.5 hours, and we went in a room with 1 and 2 year olds for another 2 hours, and that was at 7 o'clock this morning. And then we had piano, and then we had archery, and then we had homeschool time. So I'm just on the go a lot. So we have ballet in the works, and let's see, they do so many other things, violin and cello lessons. And I'm running around all the time. People are like, how are you doing what you're doing? And 100%, 100%, it's just what I'm doing with Plexus. So even though I don't talk about it like I used to, I don't share like I could. I have friends that come to me and I'll say, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm just telling you, you really ought to give it a try and budget it in. And sometimes I have takers and sometimes I don't. And I haven't been the salesperson that I should be, but especially when I really care for my friends and I want them to feel as awesome as I do and have the benefits that I have. Um, but so many of them are just not ready to make that decision. So I just keep on dancing around them in circles and throwing more irons in the fire and like, haha, I got my life under control and you're still struggling. That sounds terrible. I don't actually do that. I'm very kind to my friends. So anyway, that's really my story in a nutshell. I'm not supposed to be alive right now. I wasn't supposed to live past 25. So I claim every year of it. This is me at 47. I'm loving every tiny little wrinkle on my face. I'm loving that my hair started growing back in. I'm loving that I sleep well. I'm loving that I can keep up with my kids, that I can roll around with preschoolers in the morning and still stay up to chat with you guys at 7:30. So yeah, not every day is fantastic. I'll still cut my liquids from time to time, get busy, and a UTI will sneak up on me. And so I have to really, but it is without fail when I drop the ball with what I'm doing regularly with Flexus. I didn't reorder this, or I didn't re-up that, or I didn't take this. I left it in my pocket and didn't take it. So, yeah, big successes for me over here.
Mykle, I love your story. Okay, can you send us a picture of your like perimenopause stack
Oh
in the
yeah,
Wellness
I do
Warrior
that.
Hope Shares chat thread? Because I know people are wondering, they're like, what all is she taking? Y'all, I am so sorry for the fuzziness, but it is just what it's going to be tonight because my good camera is not working. So you get pixelated Tracy. But truly, Mykle, your story is incredible. And it's just a reminder, this is why we share. Like, this is why we share because just like Mykle trusted Cami, there's somebody out there who's going to trust you. Now, it may take them some time. They may have questions. I'm sure you had questions, Mykle.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but this changed her life because Cami shared. And so that's what we're doing and why we're doing it. So thank you for sharing, Mykle. You guys, I am so excited to just kind of expand on what Michelle talked about last week. So, in case you missed it, Michelle really brought just encouragement and conviction at the same time, talking about the standards we have in life and how they lead to the lives that we have. So, if you were on last week's call, I want to ask you to share in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, I am so happy with the standards that we have in my family, my business, and my household. And 1 is like, I was not aware that we had such low standards that we were holding to. Where did you kind of fall after you got off that call, thinking about like, yeah, things are moving and going pretty well, or like, dang, like those are the standards that we have. Crud, we've got to make some shifts. Tell me in the chat.
Hmm.
One is low, Mary. Yes. One is like crud. Molly, thank you for your honesty. I think that's probably where a lot of us fall. 3 or 4, 7 in some areas, 5 in others. I would say 4 to 5. Yeah. I think, y'all, this is why we have to have this conversation, because we get frustrated with things. Maybe it's the state of our house, or we feel like we're spread too thin, or we're not investing in the relationships we want to invest in, or even like our kids are talking back to us. They're not doing what we asked them to do, right? And I think this conversation, it's just very, we have to have that come to Jesus conversation with ourselves, okay? And here are some of the things that I realized. Life happens. As I was sitting there with this and even preparing for today, I sat there and I was like, life happens. And I want to be as honest as I can be with you all. There are seasons in my house and seasons in my life. And there are some standards that are not maintained by only me. Okay. And those standards seem to carry through even when life gets really hard for me. Okay. So one of those standards is like, our house is pretty picked up most of the time. If you come over to our house often, or like even if you came in right now, you'd be like, this is pretty picked up. That is just a standard that my husband and I both hold, because one, our house is not very big. A small mess can make it feel like a big mess. And we don't have like hidden spaces. Everything is out in the open. And so from the moment we like had this house, we were like, we're going to have to keep this picked up. It has been a standard that we have kept for like 14 years now. Okay. So regardless of my health, regardless of life circumstance or busyness, that is a standard that is not only maintained by me, it's also maintained by my husband. And it seems to be one that carries through. But I was thinking, because I was walking on my walking pad today, and I thought, gosh, before we went to convention, I walked 12,000 steps a day for 2 months. That was a standard that I had kept for myself. And guess what happened when life happened? The standard shifted. And honestly, the standard got totally eliminated, to where I had to look at my Oura ring and realize I was only getting about 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day without trying. So like, if I want to get back to the standard that I want for myself, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to start walking again. I'm going to have to not go to bed until I hit my step goals. I'm going to have to put myself around others who are also walking, right? I'm going to have to do some things to get my standards back where they want to be. And what I've realized is this also carries into business. I jumped ahead. This carries into parenting. I realized yesterday that my kids aren't listening to me at all. End of summer. Anybody else feel that end of summer? Okay. So like the past 3 days have been zero toleration. We're having to reset our standards for what is acceptable for our kids to talk to us, obey us. We don't do spankings often. We've had to issue like 2 in the last week, because we needed to reset that baseline. Okay. This also carries into business. When I was running for Emerald, you guys, my standards in this business were so high for myself. The time I was putting in, the way I was sharing, nobody else was going to hold me to those standards, but I had to. And what I've realized is this: your goals tell me what you want. Okay. I want to walk 12,000 steps a day. I want to lose weight. I want my kids to be kids who are listening. I want a clean house. I want to wake up with my alarm. I want to have a business that grows to emeralds. But your standards tell us what you're actually willing to live. Did you get that? Your goals tell us how you want to live. Your standards tell us how you're willing to live. And oftentimes what we find is that people's desires way outreach their standards for themselves. And there's a whole lot of things that play into that. The thing that is really incredible though is sometimes the standard is a lack of a standard. Does that make sense? Sometimes it's that you haven't even set a standard. So what am I going to do when I get on Facebook? I don't know. What do you wind up doing? Doom scrolling. I did it earlier. Right? Boo, boo. Oh, you get in that reel block, and then you're like, there's a plant reel, there's a recipe reel, there's a mom reel, like, right? And it's because you don't have a standard for what do you do when you get on social media. Okay. What is your standard for reading? Are you somebody who reads? What is your standard for a quiet time? What is your standard for date nights with your husband? What is your standard for fill in the blank? The reality is sometimes the standard is not having one. And it's the behavior that we've decided is acceptable to repeat. Okay? I literally was doom scrolling this afternoon because my first standard when I opened Facebook is send my happy birthday messages. I'd already done that. It didn't have a plan for what I was going to do next. And so I thought, I need another standard. What is the thing that I'm going to do when I've already done the thing that I come to Facebook and do? And what winds up happening, you guys, is we're living a life. Are you ready for this? Based on other people's standards, not ours. How many of you know the standards of others in your life? Okay. Like that reality was kind of crazy for me. Am I setting my own standards of what I want my own life to look like? Or am I constantly living in reaction to the standards of other people? Y'all, you're not going to build the life of your dreams if you don't know what it's going to take, like what that looks like when you get there. And I ask myself this all the time, and I say this all the time. What is it going to like? When I was a gold, I'd say, how does Tracy as a Ruby work her business? How does Tracy as a Ruby parent? How does Tracy as an Emerald? What does her home look like and feel like? And what is that rhythm in her home? Is she living life in response to her children? No. She's a business owner leading a team of people. She's not living life in response to her children because she can't. She's got people relying on her. And so I had to change my standards. Is Tracy, who's a diamond, going to plan things without consulting her husband? Probably not. Because we're on the same page and we're a team. And that's important that we support each other and we are there for each other. So Tracy, who's a Ruby, better start doing those things. Because it doesn't just get better. Your standards just change. Your standards define who you want to be. And so we ask that question, what do I want my life to look like? Okay, y'all. And this can be as menial as like, I want somebody to knock on my door and me to be able to invite them in without embarrassment. Like it can be that small. It can be, I put on mascara when I wake up. It can be, that was something Allie Hostin and I back in the very beginning when she first started sharing Plexus, she would say something like, I just don't feel comfortable taking a selfie of myself. And I said, well, what would make you feel comfortable taking a selfie of yourself? And she was like, I think if I had my hair brushed and mascara put on. And I was like, well, could you start doing that every day? Right? Like, could you do that every day if that's what's keeping you from doing it? And Allie birthed a new standard, right? I think this is the question we have to ask. Am I somebody who moves my body every day? Do I want to be somebody who moves my body every day? The standard is I move my body every day, right? Do I want to be a family that sits down for dinner with our family? Then the standard is we eat dinner at 6 o'clock and sit down for dinner as a family, right? You've got to have specificness. That's a word. Do you want to be somebody, y'all? And shout out to Mary Carmen. The backdrop of her phone right now literally says, "Thank you for asking. Let me check my calendar." Because Mary Carmen wants to be somebody who does not say yes to everything. She wants to be somebody who says, "Let me check my calendar first." So it says like, does this support the dreams that I have? Let me check my calendar first. And here's the thing. Are you mad when somebody tells you, "Let me check my calendar"? No. Are you mad when somebody doesn't check their calendar and then like either crams you in, doesn't give you the space, or cancels on you last minute? Probably. And so that was a conversation Mary and I had of like, you're going to have to become somebody who checks their calendar, talks to their husband, talks to their kids, makes sure childcare can be organized, make sure there's no conflicts or overlapping things. They have 4 kids who all play sports, you guys. It's a lot, right? And so that is the step, Mary, and I'm so proud of you for taking that. And she's doing it. Now, is it going to be perfect? No. Has she given out a yes or a couple of yeses without thinking about it? Yes. But then she came to me and I said, "Mary, I think you should go message them right now and be like, hey, I know I said yes, but I'm actually going to have to check my calendar and get back with you tomorrow." And you guys, that's hard. It's not easy for Mary. She is a yes girl. Okay. But here's the crazy part. It creates more freedom in your life because it gives you the ability to say no. Standards aren't about perfection. They're about your baseline. Okay? So I want you to think about that. What are your non-negotiables in life? And we're going to land this plane with and in your business. Because you guys, you are here to build a business with Plexus. You came into this community, yes, because we're awesome. I know. But you also want to make money for your families, and you want to help people in their health, and you want to impact, and you want to grow, and you want to raise your leadership lid. And so we have to have this conversation. Okay? I'm going to give you a new standard. Are you ready for this? I develop 1 business block every month. You guys, that's the standard of growth here. Is it perfect? No. Will there be months where you fail? Yes. Do you have to fail to grow? Yes. But that has to become your baseline. That has to become your standard for your business, okay? And then you take that down. If this is my standard, what other standards do I need to have to support it? Okay. It would be silly if Michelle said, my standard is that I run 5 miles a day, period. Okay. Michelle would have to build to that. Okay. The goal is there. Eventually, if Michelle said, I run 5 miles a day, in about 2 months, guess what? She probably could. Okay. But you're going to have to build to it. So, what is your standard for tomorrow? I'm going to enroll a VIP. I'm going to wake up and get on morning rounds. I am someone who gets up and wakes and gets on morning rounds. I am someone who sits at my desk for 2 hours uninterrupted and works my business. I am someone who, whatever the standard is, you guys, but the reality of the situation is if you don't have standards that are producing the results that you want, your business is not where it's going to go where you want it to go. And here's the biggest thing, kind of the bow on the topic, okay? When you realize that your actions aren't equaling the standards that you've set, you've got to wrestle with that. I'm seeing the deer in the headlights of like, but I haven't developed an ambassador, but I don't know how to duplicate, but I haven't had 3 enrollments in a year. And I want to say this with like kindness and also challenge. To grow a network marketing business, this is the price of entry. You're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have coaches. You're going to have to listen to podcasts. You're going to have to try new things. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You guys, Libby Meppin built her whole Senior Ruby business from strangers on Instagram. Okay? I'm telling you, it is possible. It is possible. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone to do it. Okay? So, where do you go from here? Okay? Who are you becoming? You guys, we've been talking about this for quite some time now. I am not the same person I was when I started on Plexus 9.5 years ago and made my first post. Like, I am so proud of that version of myself because she did not know what was possible. She had a hope, a dream, and a shaky finger when she hit post. That was it. And then she had to learn and grow. In John Maxwell's world, we call it your leadership lid. Okay? Most of us start right here. I can post, I can message people I know, and I can see what comes of that. Okay? That's the bottom lid. There's 10 more above that. Okay? You're going to have to break through that and say, who am I becoming? I'm someone who hands out samples at parks. I host booths. I message strangers on the internet. I try new things on Instagram. I have a plan for my posting. Whatever it is, this is who I'm becoming. But right now, I want you to pick one standard that you know has to change for you to move forward in this business. Okay? Sure, there's standards for your home that you can think of, standards for your marriage, standards for parenting. But I want you to think of a standard in your business that has to change for you to grow where you want to go. Okay? And when you think of it, I want you to write it down. And then I want you to send it in our chat, okay? Not here, on Facebook Messenger. And I want you to invite people in for accountability with that standard. Maybe the standard is I post 3 times a day. Okay? I post good quality posts 3 times a day. Maybe the standard is I get up and do morning rounds uninterrupted every morning. Not saying that's possible for everybody, but it's hard when you're interrupted, y'all. It just is. As a mom, it's hard when you're like, this is my time. I've got to have 30 minutes. Okay. Maybe it's, I send 50, Allie and I were talking about this. Libby Meppin sends 40 messages a day on Instagram for 2 years now. Allie's like, well, I sent like 20 a day for a week and then I stopped. I'm just being honest. She said that to Libby. I was like, well, at least there's honesty, like we can be honest about our failings. And the biggest thing I want you to know, okay? Your standards aren't dependent on others. They're dependent on you. If your standard is that you wake up at 5:30 a.m. to get a business block chunk in, would you do that even if we weren't doing morning rounds together? That question is very telling. If I stopped posting at all, would you still post 3 times a day? If the person that you get post ideas from stopped posting, would you still post 3 times a day? What is your standard for where you want to grow? Okay. Share it and then do it. And here's the best part. standards build. One that feels hard right now is going to be habit in 21 days. And then you'll get to build on top of it. And then you'll get to build on top of it. And you guys, the goal is that come a couple of months from now, when we're talking about business blocks, you're going to say, well, how to get these other standards in place. But now I am somebody who builds a business block every month. It is the off month that I don't build a business block. And I just want to ask you in the chat, how incredible will it feel when you can truly say, I am somebody who develops a business block every month? Tell me in the chat, how will that feel? So empowering. Incredible. Pretty dang incredible. And Leanne, it's going to transform your business too. But sometimes we get the cart ahead of the horse and we say, I'm going to develop business blocks. And we don't have these standards in place that are going to get us there. And then what happens? We feel like a failure. We can't do enough to get there because the standards don't match the goal we've set. So we've got to have the standard conversation so that a few months from now, we can be a team who consistently develops business blocks. You guys, I want Plexus to be like, what are they doing over there on Tracy Fogel's team? Because they consistently have like 10 business block builders a month. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing over there? And Robin's like, let me tell you what they're doing. They changed their standards. They show up differently. They speak boldly. They're a team of developing leaders and they're professional network marketers. And you're going to hear us talking a lot more about that as we head into the future. We are a team that is developing professional network marketers. This is not side hustle, extra income conversation. This is, I love the industry of network marketing because I found a company that I love and that I trust and that I'm pumped to be a part of with life-changing products. And I am a professional network marketer and I grow others who want to become that. And so this is where we start. This is where we start. And this is the launch. That's my new motto. I shared it at coffee this morning and she just loves it. Yeah, I know. You guys, how does this sound? Well, I partner with a company called Plexus to share health supplements. Oh yeah, I'm a professional network marketing company, professional network marketer with Plexus, and I help women in their health and to build incomes from home. Like, come on, which one do you want to be? Right? Cammie's like, I want to be that one. Bring it on. I ain't scared. So you guys, this is where we're headed. As we hop off, I'm so excited for what we have this week. We've got the Meet Plexus call Thursday. We've got Brittany Fabiano Sapp on our Rising Leaders call Friday. She is under Trisha Rager. She just double ranked Senior Gold Ruby and developed 8 new brand ambassadors in a single month from 100 points to over 500 with 8 new brand ambassadors. And she's going to come on our Rising Leaders call and share a little bit about that journey of belief and how it started here. Right? Cammie's like, I would like to see that happen in my business. Let's go. And that's going to be Friday at 1 p.m. And y'all, and then we've got a week left in the month. A week is a long time. So shift a standard, show up with belief, and y'all, let's see how many biz blocks we can create as a team this month. I truly, my literal like call right now is like, I want to show Plexus we love this. Like, we love this. This is smart. This is doable. This is challenging me and I'm here for it. I'm going to do it. And so let's go. Let's finish the month strong. Mykle, thank you for sharing your story. Kim, thank you for doing shout outs, you guys. It's going to be an incredible last week of the month. And we'll see you on Thursday. I'll meet Plexus. All right. Good night, y'all.